Hey, primates, links to the video we react to today are in the description below. Also be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as hit the little bell to be notified whenever we go live or put out new content. It really helps us out. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show. Good. I kind of wanted to see this one. The our video game character is too sexy, but now I kind of want to see this one. Why AAA games are getting worse. And you know what? I am wondering that. Let's go ahead and check this out.
Wow, this new Star Wars Outlaws game looks
Thank you,
great.
okay. Alright, look, for those who do not know, have not seen it, I've put out there is a Star Wars, I have a react for Star Wars for this particular game, and I wasn't the biggest fan. Gotta admit, gotta be true, gotta tell you straight up. Let's watch this one. Alright, drop a like, drop a sub, my dudes, go, and drop a comment as well, so that the algorithm likes him and knows what he's doing. Cool. Alright, yeah, drop him a comment for the algorithm if you guys, in particular about the topic. Don't just, like, drop a whatever comment. If you can't think of anything to say, I dropped a little call sign down in the description below that you can paste so that you know where the love came from, my dudes. Go!
That's pretty good.
You know what? Let's check out the official website and see if we can learn more about the... Good Lord, what is happening in there? Pre-order. Get 3 days early access. Pre-order. You want to pre-order the season's pass? And get 3 days early access. Pre-order. That's four pre-orders on one street.
4 pre-orders.
10K's journey with 2 upcoming DLCs? You want to play the exclusive Jabba's Fuckhouse? Pre-order. Unlock
Jabba's what?
exclusive cosmetic pre-order. Are you fucking pre-ordering yet? You know what's funny? If you go to the Arrowhead Games website and just look at it, there's something special about an Arrowhead game. Games should challenge the creativity of the individuals who play them. We want our games to help forge friendships. And look at that. Not even an advertisement for the Super Citizen Edition. I think this is a great way to illustrate what AAA gaming has become and what indie gaming has evolved into. The difference in priorities is clear, and you might assume, Actman, that's just typical Ubisoft greed and shenanigans. But you're wrong. It's worse than that. What Ubisoft is doing with Star Wars Outlaws is symptomatic of a much greater issue plaguing all of AAA gaming. Recently, Ubisoft dropped a story trailer for Outlaws. I watched it, and I felt apathy. As you know...
Apathy, he says. Bro, right off the bat, in case you didn't watch the video of me reacting to that whole trailer, basically, I felt like the character was fine, it's whatevs. It felt like the trailer was really poorly planned out, and it felt like, whoever was playing it didn't know how to play video games, and it also felt like, way too, like, plot armory, like, all the enemies kept lining up in front of you to be shot whenever they had their backs to you, like, you know what I mean? And then, like, it just didn't, like, the whole trailer, the game itself looked like the gameplay would be, like, fun, it looked like it might be good, but it just, like, it had cheesy dialogue. It had specific, like, you know, like, the Stormtrooper syndrome, where, like, all the enemies couldn't even freaking, like, just fired at you, but fired a million miles to the left. Or, like, they would aim at you, and then they would put their weapon down, and then they would aim at you again, but then not fire, and then you would be able to punch him in the face. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was real main character, like, plot armor syndrome. Like, I didn't like it.
Apathy is death.
The gameplay reveal for Outlaws looked solid, but now I'm skeptical. Maybe it was the boring writing, the generic presentation, or the fact that they're directing people towards the $120 version of the game instead of the standard version.
Hello, I like money.
Still, I don't remember the last time I felt indifferent to a new Star Wars game. On the flip side, one of my buddies sent me a trailer for a game called Kingmakers. I've never heard of this franchise, nor the studio
military
behind
dude on a horse?
it, but let's check it out. What the fuck is this? Oh my god! Fucking Chevy truck into... Oh, but you was shot.
What is that?
How can the engine handle this many guys on screen? This is like Mountain Blade plus Dynasty Warriors with time travel? Oh, grenades?
Kingmaker.
Oh my god, and they have RTS mechanics? No shot. It can't get any crazy. And helicopters too? Here's the question of the day.
Shut up! What game is that? What Kingmaker? Is that on Steam? Is that on Steam? Bro, I gotta get in on this before all the other VTubers get in on it. Oh, come on, Windows. What are you doing? Windows 11. Is this what happens when I don't activate my Windows? Huh? Is this what you doing to me? Whoa, there we go. Okay, it finally opened. All right, freaking look at that. It's like, oh, you better not close me. You better not close me with the forced. All right, store. Ugh, dude, I might have to buy this thing. A Chaos and Burrito bot, and I didn't. I thought the game would be longer. Anyway. Hold on, I saw it up there. Planned release date 2024. Add that to my wish list. Let's freaking go! I.
Why, as a huge Star Wars fan, am I more excited for this and not this?
Because one looks freaking hilariously awesome and one looks boring and, like, cheesy.
The answer is obvious. It's Ubisoft. But like I said, AAA gaming has been in decline for some time. Meanwhile, indie games have become a spawning pool for creativity and imagination. You may have seen the plethora of AAA gaming is dead videos spring up on YouTube. Well, AAA gaming didn't just die, it was murdered. If you got that reference, welcome back to
the
2017.
Humanity! P.S. I gotta mention this, but Helldivers, even though it's an amazing indie, Sony is trying to ruin it now by forcing everyone to have a Sony account in order to play Helldivers. Sony, get the frick out of here! Nobody wants you! The game was fine and perfect and everyone loved it, and now you're trying to get involved? Buzz off, Sony! It's your annoying frickin' exclusivity contracts.
YouTube. Clearly, I'm not the only one who has felt disillusioned and apathetic towards recent AAA titles. But a lot of people focus on how AAA games have gotten worse. They highlight the obvious: excessive monetization, unfinished products being released. I can't masturbate to this character. And while these are all issues worth pointing out, we need to understand why these things are happening. The bigger picture. You see, the reality is AAA games have become far too safe, formulaic, predictable, and just unexciting. Perhaps it's because you're an old jaded nerd, Act-Man. No, that couldn't possibly be it.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
That's what we're gonna explore today. The decline of AAA gaming.
I love Principal Skinner, he's hilarious.
Why has AAA gaming gotten so bad? Now, first off, what the fuck does AAA actually mean? The Advanced Aardvark Association? Because I'd love to join that.
To the best of my knowledge, AAA is basically, just high-budget games. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Club? No, instead you should join my public Discord server, the Act Clan. Links in the pinned comment and in the little card up here. But the acronym originally referred to large-budget, high-profile games developed by reputable studios released by major publishers. You know, Halo, Call of Duty, Warcraft, The Witcher, 50 Cent Bulletproof, Cory in the House. Games that would shake the very foundation of the world. AAA games typically have large teams, expensive marketing campaigns, and copious amounts of funding. The term was taken from the credit industry and applied to gaming once the severely obese corporate fat cats realized video games weren't a joke of a business and could actually make more money than Hollywood. For business moguls, AAA meant this is the safest investment you can make to get a return. That's not the case anymore. Today, AAA mostly indicates the aspirations and cost of a game, not how safe an investment it is. From the 80s to the 2000s, there weren't many games that were commercial failures. It was mostly like failed consoles. And that's a good video to watch. But since the 2010s, as AAA gaming budgets have grown exponentially, we've seen some big-ass flops. Marvel's Avengers, Suicide Squad, Anthem, Redfall, Aliens Colonial Marines. And in the last 7 or so...
Bro, Aliens Colonial Marines was so disappointing. Redfall, I played the entire game. I beat the game. There's a VOD out there. I should re-release that. Everything else was like, I kind of expected it to suck.
years, it also seems like many popular franchises have released what fans consider to be the worst entry in said franchise. Fallout 76, Battlefield 2042, Mass Effect Andromeda. Maybe this is all just a coincidence.
But as one trained in the Force, you know that true coincidences are rare.
So what gives? Why have things changed? Well, one of the driving factors behind the decline of AAA games is they've gotten too big. The pants do not fit anymore. For reference, vanilla World of Warcraft was made by a team of about 40 people. Helldivers 2 was made by a team of 100. Over 9,000 people contributed to Diablo
9,000? What the flip, dude?
4.
What, 9,000?
Starfield, 7 years in development, $200 million budget, 1,700 planets to explore.
Except every single planet is exactly the freaking same.
Todd, you think maybe we could tone that number of planets down to like 30? Or maybe 10? 10 really good planets?
The gamers desire 1,700 planets.
AAA games have exploded in size, scope, and cost to an unprecedented level. On one hand, a larger team has the potential to create something truly incredible, revolutionary, to realize their greatest ambition.
Here's what I don't get. There's so many people working on this. What are they freaking doing? Why is the game bad?
But this
Why was
relies on
Diablo
having a
so bad if you had
cohesive
9,000
vision
people working on
amongst many
it?
people and the budget and resources to make it happen. However, the more ambitious a project, the more money invested into it, the riskier it becomes. Immortals of Avium, a game you probably never heard of, was the debut title for Ascendant Studios. And for some inexplicable reason, the game was given a budget of 125 million smackaroos, making it one of the most expensive video games ever made. What the fuck? Immortals sold poorly, and Ascendant, after releasing their first title, had to lay off almost half of their staff. 6 months later, the remaining employees were furloughed, a fancy word for maybe you have a job, IDK, and the company's future is uncertain. Sometimes memes can spit truth. I want shorter games with worse graphics made by people who are paid more to work less, and I'm not kidding. Immortals of Avium is a mistake.
To be fair, that is accurate. See, here's the thing. You don't need 9,000 freaking people that sit around doing jack squat. Just get, like, your absolute A-team of developers. Pay them an outrageous amount of money. And just have them, like, hammer this thing out well. And only hire, if you want a large team, that's fine. But only hire the absolute top of the top. Why are you, like, hiring 9,000 people that can't even freaking figure out an itemization function without spending months and months on it?
Happened. And it's the exact type of reason why AAA publishers are sticking with familiar IPs and playing it safe. You guys excited for Call of Duty 26 to come out later this year? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. But why was Immortals, this random game, bloated with such a ridiculous budget and high expectations? Well, COVID-19 changed a lot of things. People bought a shitload of video games during that time, and some upper management folk adjusted their business. They saw this as an opportunity to invest. So they expanded operations, hired more employees, but of course, the video game sales caused by the pandemic didn't last. And we're now seeing the fallout of that overexpansion. Fallout New Vegas.
Get out of here.
Layoffs in 2020.
P.S. I want to point out, he said Fallout New Vegas, because we all know that Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 are inferior to Fallout New Vegas. Just saying, I'm just saying.
3 and 8,000 more on the way.
Fallout New Vegas, best Fallout.
Studios were
well,
shut
I
down.
can't.
Several
Equal,
games
for me, it's on even plays with Fallout 3.
From corporate overlords has uprooted this industry in such terrible ways. Overloading teams with talented employees and a shit-zillion dollars isn't some magical recipe for success. In fact, it puts the studio in a much more dire,
let me know if y'all want me to play.
Because if the game doesn't sell well,
freaking Starfield,
they're fucked. Blockbuster game development costs are out of control. According to a study by the CMA, a single AAA game could have development costs between $90 to $180 million, plus $50 to $150 million for marketing. That Suicide Squad game that 200 people are playing?
200.
Probably had an inflated budget. This is clearly unsustainable. It's like every
How much was the
Suicide
budget?
Squad game that costs between 90 to 180 million dollars, plus 50 to 150 million for marketing. That Suicide Squad game that 200 people are playing?
Bro, that's at peak. Well, what was the budget? Did they not announce the budget? Is that it? Freaking, why does nobody... Does nobody have this answer? Alright, either there's no answer or they know how bad it looks and they haven't announced it. Okay.
Probably had an inflated budget. This is clearly unsustainable. It's like every major AAA game is some massive live or die gamble. Naturally, companies want to mitigate and avoid all the risk they can. So, again, they rely on established IPs and stick with what's familiar, and most of all, safe. So wait a minute, Ackman. You're telling me AAA games have become a greater risk, but also safer?
That's a paradox, John.
Think about it this way. The bigger the budget, the more employees working on a game, the more copies it needs to sell. Therefore, it has to appeal to a lower common denominator. They have to simplify and dumb down something. They cannot take risks or experiment. They have to stick with what has proven to work. This is a huge reason why indie games such as Helldivers 2, Hades, Lethal Company are so much better at innovating on a popular formula or giving us something brand new. Which would you rather play, Back 4 Blood or Deep Rock Galactic? I better...
To be fair, me, Chaos, and Burrito freaking obliterated Back 4 Blood. At least that was such a fun game, dude. We must have gone through that at least 2 or 3 times. So that's kind of not a fair comparison. I've never played Deep Rock Galactic, but if it's comparing it, I kind of want to try it out with Burrito and Chaos now. I want to play more GTFO. I don't know if Burrito ever got it, but me and Chaos played that. That thing was freaking solid, bro. I freaking love that game.
See some fucking rock and stone in the comments. But that's the thing. Back 4 Blood is a cheap imitation of what inspired it, while Deep Rock Galactic is a unique twist on the whole 4 dumbasses trying to accomplish something co-op game. Deep Rock is brimming with charm, style, and this is gonna sound cheesy as fuck, but you can feel the love that went into it. I can't say the same with Back 4 Blood. What are some other examples that
Back 4
illustrate how
Blood
games
was
have
very
gotten
much.
safe? Well, let me
That
ask
being
you
said, to be fair, Back 4 Blood was 100% a very, like, bare bones game. There wasn't a whole lot to it. Not really. A lot of the fun that I had with it was just because I was me, Burrito, and Chaos messing around, you know, blasting zombies. You don't really need a lot to have fun. So that's kind of like to his point more so.
this. Did you think for
like,
one
look how much fun we had
millisecond
with
that the Modern Warfare 3 remake was going to do the no Russian scene justice? Did you think it was going to be as shocking, if not more so?
No!
You terrorist.
No!
You look like one.
Woo! Oh, give the writers a raise. Of course not. Like, even Call of Duty feels like it's been sterilized. But of course, there's some exceptions with, like, Cold War. I mean, that game took some serious risks with its campaign and story, and it paid off. Gamers love being surprised. We love being thrown for a loop. because it's so hard to do now in the age of the internet and with all these leaks and everything. This is why Helldivers 2's live service is retaining so many players, because there haven't been any roadmaps going into excruciating detail about what to expect. It's why the redemption of No Man's Sky hit so hard, because Sean and Hello Games just went into hibernation and came out when they had some.
Dude, y'all gotta let me know if you want to play that one too. No Man's Sky is available on Game Pass, and I'm totally down to play it.
To show people.
I played it when it was originally came out. I played it when they fixed it, like when they were in the middle of fixing it, rather. And I haven't played it very recently, but like I stopped playing it around the time where bases were able to start being built, like advanced bases started being able to be built.
With the dialogue now feel tame, like they're pulling punches. I'm not a huge expert on Fallout, so Fallout fans, please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But there is a massive difference between Bethesda's Fallout games and the other Fallout games.
Massive difference. I would even separate Fallout 3 from Fallout 4. Fallout 4 plays incredibly, like way different. I would put Fallout 4 more on the list in the bottom. Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, though, is unfair because that's like a top-down point-and-click adventure. But Fallout New Vegas, for sure. Here's how I would do it. I would put Fallout 1 and 2 in its own point-and-click adventure segment. I would put Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas on its own segment. And Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 on its own, on its own segment as well. Even Fallout 76, though, is worse than Fallout 4 because it's just a live service and, half the game wasn't finished when it came out. And to this day, the story is, very, lame. Not even worth it.
In New
but
Vegas,
I am willing to play it, though. A lot of people want me to play
children. Like that's a real choice you have in the game. You can be an absolute maniac. You can shake down a guy for caps and he'll say, well, you've taken everything but the clothes off my back. And then you can...
Hold on. That's a mission. That's not like you can't just run up to anybody and start quoting it. That's a mission where you're working for one of the casinos and the guy owes the casino money.
Say, actually, give me your fucking clothes too. You know
that is okay. That is true. You don't need to do that, but it is an option. Yeah, and yes, I took his clothing. It was worth like 2 bottle caps, and I didn't need it, but you gotta send a message. When you work for the Garrett brothers, the Garrett siblings, you gotta send a message.
You know what I mean? Like, for some reason, I just can't picture these types of things being in a new Fallout game.
Wait, are the Garretts the Atomic Wrangler, or are the Garretts the Van Dans? Those are the energy weapon. Yeah, the Garretts.
KOTOR 2 is also a fantastic example because I doubt we'll ever see a Star Wars game that takes the franchise in such a bold direction. KOTOR 2 is a Star Wars game where the main villain wants to kill the Force. Destroy the Force, remove it from the universe. Destroy
the actual
concept
Force
of Sith and Jedi completely. There's no way in Nar Shaddaa we'd ever witness a Star Wars game that delves into that sort of thing. According to Obsidian, Chris
the
Avalon,
bad guy wants to destroy the ability to make more Star Wars franchise installments? Never.
Main writers
That's
for
too
New Vegas
evil.
and KOTOR 2. Obsidian made multiple proposals to develop spin-offs for Fallout and the Elder Scrolls, all of which were turned down by
which is an absolute... it's just disappointing. Obsidian put so much love into Fallout New Vegas. It would be such an amazing game for dude, if we could have an Obsidian-made, Elder Scrolls or another freaking Fallout, I would be so freaking there, dude.
Bethesda.
Assuming the
And while we can only
Bethesda
imagine
stays
the reason
away.
why, perhaps it was too risky in their eyes. Here's another example, Halo Wars 2. Console RTS, pretty niche, but its expansion, Awakening the Nightmare, was the first time in a decade we saw the Flood in a Halo game. Why haven't the Flood appeared in the main series? Don't want to risk lowering the sales with an M rating, right? M-rated games don't sell too great, do they? Speaking of...
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that because I've always been a huge fan of the Halo series. I played 4, and it was okay, it was alright. I played 5, and it was a misery playing through that game, dude. I don't even think I finished it. I think I stopped. I think I played all the Master Chief levels, and then I stopped. I didn't even finish the rest of the quote-unquote story, because I just got bored, honestly. It literally was just, Master Chief does something cool, and then the other guys, follow him, and they're like, we gotta get this dude. I can't freaking chief bastard. I hate him. And then they just sort of followed him, and then that was about it. They really were like just nonsense characters. Haven't played Halo Infinite because I'm just kind of like I never played. I don't think I've played Infinite yet. It is on Xbox Game Pass though. Maybe we should.
Speaking of Rockstar, God, this industry pisses me off sometimes. LA Noire 2, where is it? Bully 2? And you might think, well, isn't that hypocritical, Ackman? You were just complaining about these...
LA Noire was kind of a... That game was kind of mad, but it was amazing. It was good. I liked it, but it was a pretty mid game. Bully was phenomenal. Bully was literally like not even toned down, right? But like to a degree, toned down. It felt like what Saints Row was trying to be, you know? Really good, really good.
Companies sticking to established IPs, but both of these franchises only have one game, and that's kind of my point. Instead of making one, $400 million game, why not cut a chunk of that out and develop multiple AA games?
What if they took one of these $150 million AAA budgets and made a couple of $20 million bets with them, right? And just funded a bunch of projects, and the risk is much smaller. And I think that would be very good for the industry. And I wish AAA would take more risks like that with smaller teams. Then you would get that cohesion. You would get that sort of singular vision, I think, and stronger creativity out of it.
I at least understand this for Rockstar because their games are so overhyped. If they released a sequel that you thought was a 9 out of 10, that would feel disappointing. A bunch of Halo spin-offs were also pitched to leadership at 343, including an ODST-themed game similar to Helldivers 2. Imagine what could have been.
Bro, an ODS team game like Helldivers 2. Wow, that is a freaking idea and a half. Oh, I would say I want them to do it, but I know they put like live service microtransactions all get out. You know what I mean?
I guess I just don't understand why the corporate side of game development treats every title like it has to be an all-in bet. Do you see what I'm getting at? So many of our favorite franchises that we grew to love because of how bold they were are now playing it safe. And that's why indie and AA gaming is thriving right now, because they can take risks. They're not obsessing over how many people are gonna buy the game. The developers of Palworld were like, well, hope this doesn't make us go bankrupt. Indie studios are operating at the level that AAA used to. And when you don't have to make hundreds of millions of dollars to keep your company afloat and not fire your entire studio, you can take risks. And going back to my initial comparison between Arrowhead and Ubisoft, there's a huge difference in the mission statements of AAA and indie games. Baldur's Gate 3 is an indie game. Larian is an independent studio, but the quality is so amazing, you'd assume it's AAA, right?
It's a quadruple A. Excuse me, correction, excuse me. It's actually it's a quadruple A game.
There's this trend of indie developers reassuring customers that they're not gonna nickel and dime us. No, there are no in-game purchases in our game. We believe in providing a complete and immersive gaming experience without the need for additional purchases. Vermintide 2 is one of the only games to do loot boxes right, because they didn't
Vermintide 2? I always wanted to play that one.
Sell them. At the height of the loot box craze, no less. Helldivers 2 doesn't let you pay for tiers in the freedom passes. Indie developers can afford to be more player friendly because they don't have these investors hanging over their heads and these massive budgets. You might think all these egregious microtransactions is just pure corporate greed, and there's a good chance some of it is, but it's also a safeguard, like a necessity. And I think the solution is just to make games smaller, dude. Now, a really shitty byproduct of this risk-averse mentality is that a lot of these publishers are looking for a quick buck. They want to make easy money. So what do? Bingo! Flood the market with shitty remasters. Boy, there's been an abundance of these lately. The Last of Us 1 on PC, GTA Trilogy.
Oh my goodness, dude. The freaking GTA one was freaking horrendous. I would be down to play The Last of Us remake. I didn't like the second one. The second one was lame.
Shit. Here we go again.
Hell, even Dark Souls Remastered sucked major ass.
Nah, I played it on the Switch.
Don't even get me started on the fucking Battlefront collection. Did you know at one point Warcraft 3 Reforged had like 3 people working on it? Like one guy was supposed to remake all of the cutscenes? And this is so perplexing. These studios dump 10 figures into a new game but can't even hire 10 people to make a decent remaster. It's like there's no middle ground. It's either no budget or dump the bank account.
Well, they dumped the bank account there, so what are they supposed to give the remaster guys? They're out of funds.
Meanwhile, Lethal Company, made by one guy. Now, because studios are investing so much, they tend to interfere with the creative process to insane degrees. They see trends that are making money elsewhere, and they think, well, let's just throw that into our game. I'm funding this. What I say goes. Redfall lost 70% of its arcane staff during development, struggled the whole way. Development of Redfall began in 2018 as parent ZeniMax was quietly looking to sell itself and was encouraging its studios to create games as a service projects like Overwatch. Microtransactions were intensely encouraged. However, the problems in trying to develop Redfall surfaced early. Firstly, management kept offering conflicting visions of what the game would and should be, resulting in developer confusion about what they were creating. How to reconcile single player and multiplayer within an Arcane game was never really resolved either. Secondly, Arcane employed fewer than 100 people, which had been enough to make a single-player game, but was not a healthy number for developing a large multiplayer game with microtransactions to manage. Outsourcing work to other studios was reportedly not enough to alleviate the strain. As a result of plummeting morale and lack of direction, veteran employees left the company in droves, with about 70% of the staff ultimately leaving Arcane. Redfall is not the only story.
70%, my dude. Freaking wow. And it's sad too, like, there was a lot of potential in Redfall. I genuinely think there was a ton of potential to be had there. And it's just so unfortunate that it was such a bad freaking game. Like more than half the buildings were not accessible.
Story of its kind. You can look at most AAA flops or AAA games that severely disappointed, and you'll find something similar. Management interfered. Management wanted this. I imagine they feel they have to micromanage these things, again, because of the investment. Sometimes with AAA games, it feels like there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and Gordon Ramsay is pissed.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
There's gotta be a happy middle ground in dev team size. Too small and you feel like the world rests on your shoulders. Too big and you feel like you have zero agency and influence. These big dev teams, especially when they're spread out against multiple studios across the country, can sometimes have very inefficient communication, bureaucracy. Next Battlefield has the largest development team so far. 1 year later, former DICE dev says 2042 never stood much chance being great at launch. There's a video by Timothy Kane, the creator of the original
Bro, I heard that 2042 is having a bad time right now as well.
And he talks about how certain things in game development now that could be fixed in 45 minutes now take 4 weeks.
When we were making the Outer Worlds, the combat AI wasn't really in yet, so I asked for a very simple combat aggression code to be added. This is how simple it was. Every time an NPC got shot, they would see if that person was on the list of someone who'd shot them. If they weren't, they'd add them to the list with the amount of damage they just took. If they were already on the list, they'd just add the amount of damage they took. Whenever they're deciding who to attack, they attack the person at the top of the list. That's it. That's all I wanted. The programmer who it got signed to came to me and said, I need 4 weeks. And I'm like, why? Walk me through what you're going to do. And he goes, you don't understand. And I was like, I've coded this 3 times. Walk me through it. And he wouldn't. He left. He left angry. Lead programmer came back.
Wow. Wow. bro, Raz, like, walk me through, what are you gonna do? Like, that sounds to me like, okay, well, that seems like a long time. Like, what are you doing differently that's like, let's try to figure out, like, why does it need you, like, you know what I'm saying? That sounds like a boss that knows how to do the work, that's like, okay, like, so I'm trying to, like, let's figure out why it takes you so long, because maybe there's something he can do to help, or maybe there's some kind of way that he does it differently that would help you out with your job. You get me? At least when I was like a manager at a repair shop for electronics, I would like kind of keep an eye out, and if I saw some of my employees taking forever, I'd go over and lend a hand. Maybe they're having trouble, maybe something's wrong, maybe, you know, and sometimes it would be, you know, where they mess something up, and it's like, it's okay, you messed up, that's fine. Let's fix this. Now that I'm here, I have a little bit more experience with this. Let's fix the solution. Like, let's fix the problem. Let's get you back on track. Or if they just took forever, I'd be like, well, here's the problem. You're doing it this way. You know what? There's an easier method of doing it. You get me? So this sounds fine to me, frankly. The fact that the guy But I don't know why he would walk away angry. Frankly, you should fire him. A month.
Started yelling at me, saying, if he says he needs 4 weeks, he needs 4 weeks. And I'm like, then I will do it. I'll have it done before lunch. And he said, no, because then people will have to support your code. I'm like, I'm going to walk you through what I want. And you tell me why this takes 4 weeks. He looked at what I wrote, which was about 10 lines of pseudocode on a whiteboard. And he goes, I'll come back. He came back about an hour later and said, what about 2 weeks? And I said, do I have any options here? Fine. 2 weeks.
You want to fix these lines of code? That decision has to go through 10 fucking departments now. It needs to be approved by your manager.
See, what needs to happen there is they need to fire that guy and just have this dude do the code instead. Which might not be the best way to do it, but the guy who needs 4 weeks needs to get fired, and then this could be, especially since he was willing to go down to 2 weeks. You get me? It's like, nah, he needs to get fired, and this guy just needs to do his job for him. Because it's actually going to genuinely make the whole process easier and faster.
Your manager's manager. It has to go through the marketing team, the DEI office. The fucking janitor's cousin has to approve it. Indie developers don't have the same level of bureaucracy. I imagine if there's a problem with the
You also have to make sure that it doesn't get vetoed by the homeless dude down the block.
The code, you could just walk over to the cubicle of Jimbo and ask him about it without the fucking HR.
Make sure your nanny's okay this weekend, so that you can get into the zone. That way you're not getting bothered by that child you got at home. You need to oil your mustache before you start coding. It's gotta
Department breathing down your neck. Then you also have to make
what if I
games
gotta
that can
go
be
down
released
to
in
get some
China.
avocado
You need that
torch in the
China
middle of
money.
it?
It has to hit certain quotas and scores on diversity, equity, and inclusion to secure funding, and the game needs to have microtransactions for this consistent revenue source, a live service business model, so that makes the investors happy. And can you see how creativity dies in this environment?
Absolutely.
When games are made by committee and not creativity? It also seems like the more employees a company has...
What a freaking bop, though. Yo, what a freaking dope quote. Games should not be made by committee, but by creativity. Yeah!
The easier it is for you to blend in and not be seen or heard. Indie studios typically have better working conditions with flexible hours. Employees have more creative control. Smaller teams allow the individual to have more influence on a game and a greater impact. I've seen a lot of articles from ex-developers who say, this game wasn't what we intended to make. It wasn't what we envisioned. Disagreements are going to spring up in game development, but it's easier to settle an argument between 2 people than it is 100. At the end of the day, indie gaming has risen where AAA has fallen. The decline of AAA gaming is due to the insane budgets, scope, and expectations of these games. How that affects the employees, the work environment, the investors and higher-ups who have to constantly micromanage these games and throw in their own ideas when they have no fucking clue what makes a good video game. I feel like a lot of these developers simply don't have the same luxuries and freedom to create art like they used to. Game development in the AAA space is now a committee process where simple solutions to bugs can take weeks, where the freedom to express and create art and take risks is suppressed in favor of creating the generic and the safe. Too many external factors have disrupted what used to be a creative process with the singular goal of making the best and most fun video game possible. It ain't about that no more. This shit has to make money, and a lot of it. And it's for all these reasons that AAA gaming is declining, and why indie titles...
It used to be that you would not release a game that was similar to other games because you didn't want that competition. You would release a wholly different game. Like when Grand Theft Auto was out and then Saints Row came out, Saints Row kind of figured well, we can't be Grand Theft Auto's taking this into a serious direction, so we got to go into a more outrageous, wild kind of direction,
are thriving. But what do you think? What are some of your favorite indie games? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Don't forget to join my public Discord server. Links in the pinned comment and the description. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did and subscribe to the Act Man for more awesome content. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Act Man signing out.
What
Peace.
a wonderful video, my dudes. Please go subscribe, like, all that good stuff. He deserves it. I already shared this if I'm not mistaken. Bro, no, he's making a great point. He makes great points. They really, it's not even just necessarily that they're playing it safe. But it's just like, on top of playing it safe, on top of everyone wanting them to do the same exact copy-paste BS, they've got all these, like, you got like the whole Sweet Baby situation where they're just sort of coming in and trying to influence it. And I can only imagine that's going to cause even more issues, more trouble. Honestly. Thank you so much, Primates, for watching this all the way to the end. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as hit the little bell for a rainbow explosion that will go ahead and notify you every single time we go live or put out new content. Thank you so much, goodbye, and thanks for swinging by.